Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Hey, Gumby, what's up, brother? All right. Sorry for the late start, but I think I got everything good to go. Oh yeah, get that Jocko going. Hey, it's all good, Gumby. I understand, man. Actually, I was planning to message you if I didn't see you tonight. I'd be like, just check up on you. No, Gumby, you have nothing to apologize for or to explain, man. I was just gonna check up on you to see how you were doing, dude. Oh, I just noticed the timer ran out. Oops. Let's get started. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. That's good to hear, Gumby. I'm glad you're doing all right, man. Yeah, don't worry about it. We can catch up about it later. Don't worry about bringing that into everybody's nosiness. It's all good, man. Yeah, apologize for the late start. I had to get a shower before the stream. Took the kids riding today, and it was a great time. But the track, I'm going to show you here in a sec. I got a video of it. That is one of the dustiest hard packs I have ever gone to. And so usually just come home covered in dust from head to toe. Well, there was no exception today. And on top of that, a buddy of mine's wife is like in the hospital, and they're just having a very, very rough time. So went and took them some food, but they live about 45 minutes driving away from me. And I didn't get back home from the track until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and I still had to like make, so my wife likes to make this dish you put together, and it's a shredded pork butt and some Mexican rice and some beans. And she didn't do the Mexican rice, so I had to do it. First time learning. Thankfully, I did it okay. I had one minor screw up, but it was repairable. So, got that all taken care of. Drive it up there, get back. I had just enough time to eat some dinner, get the kids in bed, and take a shower by the time I got back. So, I'm getting done, tuck the boys into bed, and I'm like, I'll be distracted by my own funk and just how I feel if I don't go shower before the stream. So, that's why I'm a little bit late tonight. I had to go get a shower. It was nasty. But here, I got a really good video of Agent Zero. So this was not him on his normal four-wheeler. Here, well, let me see if I can adjust this. Can I make it any bigger? That's about as big as it goes. But this is him on, not his normal four-wheeler. This is him on a different one. His is actually in parts right now. He was at this same track and sucked a whole bunch of dust and stuff into his carburetor and mud, because it was really muddy last weekend, and just BTFO'd his engine. So his bike's in parts, but we just reconstructed this other one. We call it Bumblebee. You're going to see why in a second. It's all black and yellow. And he was testing out, and he was a little scared because it's a bigger engine. He rides a 50cc, which is probably power equivalent to about a 62cc after you put in the mods we've done to it. But this one's a 94cc, I think. So quite a bit bigger displacement, some more power to it. We just got it rebuilt. The radiator busted on this one, seized up the whole engine, and it actually was doing really good. It's running rich. We got to turn the jets down on the carb. But check it out, he was doing really great. Hang on, see if I got the desktop audio turned on here. So that's Agent Zero right there. He was taking it easy on these jumps right here. Hey Mars, what's up, man? So normally, he'd be like really attacking this if he was on his regular four-wheeler. But he was taking it easy because he's not used to the throttle and the power on this one. Like I said, it's probably got about 25% more power than he's used to. He'll eventually be on a 110, Gumpy. See, normally he was actually hitting those jumps last weekend. This one, he's taking it real easy around here. So then the track kind of cuts back into the woods there. But they were doing great, man. I had Agent Zero, my nephew, and my other nephew there. And then another friend's son was out there. Negative IQ viewer. That's an awesome screen name. So Agent Zero is 7 right now. He started riding when he was about 4.5. And so he's just really starting to kind of like experiment with the jumps in there. So they were doing great. My other nephew in there was doing awesome. They were all kind of taking it easy today, which is fine. I told them to. But normally they would be like drifting around those turns and like just really ripping after it. All right. I got good news and bad news also. So the lab redeployed last night, but none of the Kubernetes stuff got installed. So I think we're just gonna F it. We're gonna do it live, and we're gonna go figure out how to get it set up. So I'm gonna get cube control set up on this box real quick here. Let me see here. Let's get that going. Make sure it's in here good. All right, it is. Let me go find something real quick. If I can. There it is. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to go start working on getting the sucker set up here. Your son just turned 8 and you got him a 110? Nice. Nice. All right, let's see what we're going to need here on... So this one... We have that host control? We do. Hang on, I want to rename this system here. Okay, I think we can just do this. I never actually used hostname control, but set hostname. This one would be Kate's master. And then let me check. Do I need to do Etsy hosts for this one too? No, actually, you know what we should do? Is probably just go ahead and do this, because it's currently named Debian. So let's just drop that in there, like that. You let me set the other name. What's wrong? There we go. All right, we'll get that going, and let's do this on the worker as well. So what I'm doing is I'm just checking the Etsy host file in here. Okay, so this is AD Lab Kate's node 1. So let me say sudo host name. There we go. If I can type, can't type. Fail typing. Set. What is it? Set host name. All right, set host name. Drop that in there. Boop. There we go. Jay Harte, we are working on setting up a Kubernetes cluster so we can go hack around and find out on it. And we tried to automate the process using Ludus, which usually does a pretty good job, except this time it is just not working. So that's what we're doing right now. Is we're just like, I've tried this twice. It's not having a good time, so we're just going to do it by hand. All right, so we got that set up. Let me grab the directions we were going through here. Let's see. Let's just drop into root for this whole operation here. There we go. All right. Let's update our CA certs. Now, this is a different set of instructions I've seen for this. Actually, hold on. I got to do these kind of on both systems here. I think... Hey, there we go. We can do it like this. Master node. Here we are. All right. Sudo tech I. All right. Let's clear all this stuff out because we're going to have to duplicate a lot of these in here. So let me go run these commands back over here. Yeah. Oh, so Gumby, you were busy last night, but actually we're taking a little side quest into doing some hacking on Kubernetes. So we will get back to Hackbot. I'm trying to rethink the architecture of it, and I'm working on it right now. I'm working on the architecture documents, and once I get that kind of up and running, then I'll show it to y'all. But also right now I'm on a penetration test that's like super heavy on Kubernetes. And so I was like, you know what, this would be fun. I could use a refresher. I've not had to go hack onto Kubernetes in quite a while. So let's go do, so like, let's do this. Let's go do a side quest. All right, fstab, let me see. Let's see, I don't think we have a swap. Just for grins and giggles, we'll go ahead and make sure the swap gets disabled. These shouldn't have a swap enabled on them. And then what's the next thing we need to do? We need to go enable some Kubernetes modules. Get those up, and then we need to do a little bit of mod probage. I am just trying to speed run this Kubernetes setup so we can get kubegoats up and deployed. All right, let's see. So what this is going to do is, you see this net bridge call IP table. So this is going to set up a bunch of the network bridging and IP forwarding, which is stuff that we need. Because Kubernetes, got to remember, it's going to be running everything kind of like in these isolated containers. So it's going to be routed through the kernel on the system when we do that. What is syscontrol? Oh, this is just us verifying that IP forwarding was turned on. We don't need to do that. It's going to be turned on. All right. Now let me try something over here. Apt search container D. All right. So we do need to have container D set up in here. Let me see. I'm just double checking some of the directions because I've got them on a different monitor right now. Config default. So we're going to write. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up container D. We're going to set up a directory for it. Set up some stuff in the config toml and then basically enable it. Okay. So let's get container D up and running here. Spreading false information. I mean, normally we would be working on Hackbot. But since the MCP server looks like it's kind of good. Now, one thing I did go through and I was working on setting up last night is an AI penetration testing system called Pent AGI. Looks kind of interesting. Also, one of the guys had recommended that we go tinker with Hexstrike again because he's actually really liking Hexstrike with, I think he said with Claude Code. I don't remember. That's how I'm going to try running it. We're going to hook up the Hexstrike MCP over to Claude Code, and then we'll let that run in the lab too. We'll go tinker with it. What's up, Bobby? The Mac attack. All right, let's see. I think we actually may already have done some of this. Let me see. Let me check this file. No such file or directory. Okay, well, we already did the manual install of kube control, but that's all right. We'll go ahead and we'll just get it going. GPG command not found. That's because you suck. Sudo apt install tackwide. Install tackwide. G for G. Let's get those going. Good evening, Senor Mac. Dude, I was showing a video earlier of Agent Zero going around the track. It was just a short video. They were not riding super hard, especially since race weekend is next weekend. By the way, next Saturday, no stream because I will be down in Podunk, Texas, middle of nowhere, for the next race in the series. So far, Agent Zero has a first place and a second place finish. So I think he would have got first place at the second race, except he had some trouble with his centrifugal clutch. So the bike you just saw him riding, and dude, I don't know if I can live stream the race, just because it really depends. We are literally out in the middle of nowhere. We're on someone's farm. That's what they do, is they basically rent pasture land from all these ranchers, and then they go cut a track out there. So it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. It gets us away from the city for the weekend. So we'll leave early on Friday. We'll come back a little bit later in the afternoon on Sunday, usually because it's a long drive. This one, thankfully, this is a short drive. It's only 3 hours away. Maybe if I can, maybe Saturday night, I'll just hop on for like an IRL stream. We'll just do that and we can hang out and I can let some folks talk or whatnot. I've never tried it. Maybe I'll give it a shot. As a Texan, I take offense to even Podunk, Texas is better than a lot of places in the US. It is. But the point being, we're going to be somewhere where cell reception can be very questionable. And I enjoy the crap out of it. We have a fantastic time out there. All right, let me get this stuff set up. This is actually going to reinstall Cube Admin and Cube Control, but you know what? That's fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up the master node, which is this one. This is the master node over here. Let me do something real quick. Let's see. First thing let me do is let me go vim the bash rc file. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh, well, it's fine. Sudo apt install tmux and vim. And let me do the same thing over here. Tmux. There we go. Let me get those because I'm going to need those here in a little bit. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so what we need to do with this is then we need to set what the master node's IP address, which is, I don't remember. Let's go find it real quick. Let's see. What is it? Ludus range list. Can I zoom this out? Let me see. Here, there we go. All right, which one's the master node? It is 10.920.1. So that's what we're going to drop in here.
Your brain is what processes all the stuff that you get through your ears. So the first thing is you have a limited range of what you can hear. So it starts about 20 hertz, goes up to about 20 kilohertz.
Wait, no, wait. Do we actually already have Cube Control set up here?
Outside of that, you can't really hear anything, but inside of that, you
Hang
can
on.
pretty much hear
Let me
stuff.
bring this up so I can see what this error is actually saying.
One of the
So here's the command we set. We told it to initialize it. We're going to give it the pod network CIDR.
there's a fundamental one that gives you the pitch.
And we told it this is the host here.
And essentially what happens is if you delete the fundamental pitch and keep all of the rest of them, your brain
ETH tool not found in the system path. Error execution. ETH tool.
your brain is what processes all the stuff that you get through your ears.
Ah, damn it. All right. Apt search. We need ETH tool in here.
Your brain will fill in the fundamental pitch for you.
There should be set to 1 though.
Your brain
We just set the hold on. We just set the IP control to 1.
Now this one, and I'm going to show you what this is. It's seems really simple. You hear
Yeah, it
things
should be
happening in
good.
the world. Air vibrates, it vibrates your ear, your brain hears
Let me
it.
skip this song. Why is that showing up? I just noticed that the song title is showing up twice down here. Gotta figure out why that's going on. Yeah, we could do, I mean, Bobby, we could do it IRL, ask me anything stream on there. If I can get it to work, I'll make sure to try to bring my earbuds so I can actually kind of hear what's going on. Yeah, we can see what's doing with that. One of these days, I'm going to start learning cybersecurity, learning programming for right now. Dude, I mean, one leads into the other. One thing I tell people is that cybersecurity is not any one particular thing. It's more like an umbrella that sits over every single vertical of technology. So if you're a programmer and you want to start working in towards cybersecurity, there's exploitation of programs that you can look at. What else in there? Secure coding practices, making sure people are actually writing secure code and they're not doing crazy stuff. Even whenever they're doing things like in Rust, right, which makes memory vulnerabilities very difficult, not impossible, but very difficult. There's still problems with Rust programs. They can still have logic bugs or race conditions. Let's see. See if we can get this Kubernetes pod. Okay, so we're missing ETH tool in here. That was what I was doing. Okay, let's install this. App install ETH tool. ETH tool. And then hold on. I need to split this back out. There we go. So I got to run this on both of them because eventually that's what I'm going to need. All right, so now so why is it saying that this is... All right, you know what? It should be already in there. So what we'll do is we'll do echo 1, and then we'll just write it over to that file. Here, let me grab this real quick. Do the same thing. We already installed ETH tool, so let me try this one more time. Let's see if kubeadmin will install here. All right, so now what do we got? Pulling images required to set up the cluster. Warning. So detected that the sandbox image registry Kate's IO pause of the container runtime is inconsistent with that used by kubeadmin.it. It's recommended to use as a CRI sandbox. Okay. Well, hey, as long as it works. We're going to try it out. I've only set up a Kubernetes cluster, I think, one time in my entire life. So.
RNO Gumby cheered 5 bits and says, "Do this still work?"
It do still work, yes. I actually go test it before the stream. Now, I did notice a problem, though, up in the bit buffer. It's supposed to keep track of how many times the buffer overflows. And I double-checked it, because something happened last night, and it should have had, like, a overflow register of, like, 9. And I was like, okay, that's not right. And so, yeah, I just tested it before the stream. I got to go debug it. The bit buffer's not tracking the overflow count. So I do need to go fix that. I'll probably actually restructure this to where it's maybe just like 3 in here and then make it a little bit wider so I can make the text a bit bigger. Make it easier for people to read if they're mobile and they've got low resolution. I'd like for it to be able to be readable. All right, let's see. So that one should be good. So this is on the master node. Let's go ahead and exit out of this because I want this over in the Debian user. Oh, I think I need to sudo copy that. There we go. And then we got to chown it. Chonona. Sudo chown. There we go. Some people go their entire lives without ever setting up a K8s cluster. You are truly living your best life. I don't know if anybody's living their best life in Kubernetes, but thank you. Let's see. Now, what is this? This guide is suggesting we go look at Flannel. I am not familiar with Flannel. Let's go pull that up real quick. What is Flannel? Oh, thank you. Let's see. Flannel is a simple, easy way to configure a layer 3 network fabric designed for Kubernetes. Oh. Runs a small single binary agent called flannel-d on each host and is responsible for allocating a subnet lease to each host of a larger pre-configured address space. Okay. I like this idea. I would yell at her and tell her that, Gumby, except she's got her headphones on and she's busy doing stuff around it. She had a busy day too. Ironically, with the day that I usually like to go chill out, being Sunday, there was a whole lot going on and we were running around the whole day. Hey, Peaches. I also preemptively stuck Peaches outside so she wouldn't bug me 5 minutes into the stream. Like, oh God, now Daddy, I gotta go outside and go potty. It's like, you always wait till the stream starts. Interesting. I've never seen flannel before. I wonder if we should do this. Do we need flannel? Oh no, we'll try it out. What I'm going to also do is probably go spin up a different range where I can try this. But, you know what? For now, just so we have something to kind of mess around with. Now, what is this saying here? Let me see. Do I have my, dang it. Where's my alias in here? Hang on. Let me go set this up real quick. Because if I don't do that, it's going to bug me. Let's see. Yeah, I've got Cube in here. We should have our config. Let me go look at it real quick. Oh no, my certificate data. Don't hack me, bro. Good luck. If you can get to the server, you probably deserve to break into it. Okay, so that should work. So this one, we're going to apply Cube Flannel. Error validating. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's just do this. Rather than trying to apply it directly like this, let's just wget it. And then when we apply this, what we'll do is we're just going to apply it directly. There we go. Error validating. Connection refused. Rip. What's going on with it? Cooper, what these? Yes. Kubernetes these nuts. Yeah, I do like the I like the bit buffer. I was glad with the way it came out. Whenever I was thinking about it, I thought it was going to be kind of goofy. Feeling unhinged tonight because I got a case of the Sunday scaries. Is that because tomorrow is you have the Mondays? Somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Let me see, what is causing this error here? So it doesn't want to pull it directly from the GitHub. It also doesn't like it whenever we apply it. Let me see here. All right, what caused this error here? So we did this already. We already did the sudo copy here. Let me double check it. Yes, overwrite that. And then we need to chown it. Let's see, sudo chown Debian. Debian, and we're gonna change cube big. There we go. Well, now it looks like it's working. I don't know what happened. Maybe the cube config was just jacked up last time.
RNO Gumby cheered 5 bits and says, "My son was chewing on an electrical cord, so I had to grounded him. He's doing better currently and conducting himself properly."
That's good. He probably needs to practice some meditation. A little Om. All right, let's see. So that looks like that should be good now. I think that was... Wait, did it refuse again? Still getting connection refused. Hang on. Let me check something real quick. Sudo. Let's see. System, CTL, status. Is it cube control? No, that should be it. Kubelet. There we go. So Kubelet up and running, so that's not the issue. Let's see, what about cube control? We do get pods. I think tech A. .10.9.20.1. This is, I mean, this is the right IP address because we're connected to it right now. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, 10.9.20.1. So what's causing this here? Let's see. So Kubelet is running. That's all good. So cube control get pods is not working. Oh, let me try something else real quick. Let's do ANOPT grep, because it was trying to connect on what did it say, 6443? Yeah, 6443. Yeah, so we have plenty of stuff running. Yeah, here we go. So this one's listening on 6443, so we're good there. So it should be up, it should be listening. No need to meditate. Resistance is futile. Hey. Oh yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. I finished that one off fast because I'm still very thirsty. It was a warm day and it is only March. There's a reason why the racing season takes summer off. So we have our race for March. We'll have one for April, one for May, and then we are off June, July, and August. So then we take 3 months off because that's a rough time in Texas. Dynamic Types, what's up, man? Dude, everybody doing pretty good, dude. Had a nice day, just a busy day. I was on the run all day. I actually started the stream a couple minutes late. I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes late because I had to get a shower. I was running around. I was at the racetrack with the kids and just dusty butt all the way. I felt disgusting. So I was like, I'm not gonna be able to focus on the stream if I don't get a damn shower. All right. I wonder if we just need to restart this machine. Let's just go ahead and do that. Let's sudo reboot now. Boop.
Oh no, it died. Oh no. That's okay. The cats will eat it.
And actually, we haven't even done the cube setup on this yet, I don't believe. Sudo system CT. System CTL status kubelet. I don't think we've even set it up on here yet. Actually, it says it's enabled. Let's go ahead and just reboot this one too.
Sudo reboot now.
There we go. We'll do that. Let's see. Could end up being a rough spring in Texas this year. Dude, it's not so much the spring I'm worried about. It's the summer I'm going to be worried about. Ugh. Alright, these machines should reboot really fast. Let me see if the master comes back up. Okay, yay, master's up. We'll go ahead and throw this into Tmux as well. Same thing with our worker. Because these are really lightweight Debian systems, so they should come back up real quick. Alright, so let's try this again. So kube control get pods should come up with something. TLS handshake timed out. You are full of crap. All right, let me try it. Let me try it without this. I doubt it's going to make any difference, but let me see if there's anything actually in the namespace. Yeah, that's what I thought. So what is going on here? All right, let's do it. Let's check journal control real quick and see if kubelet actually has maybe any errors in here. Oh my, it's a lot. Yeah. Error syncing pods, skipping or failed start container, crash loop, back off 20 seconds, restarting failed container. I don't think it liked this. I don't think it liked that. I don't think so. What was that? Dang it. What was the error we got with the pod configuration? I'm trying to remember. Hey, Williams, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Thanks for stopping in, brother. Let's see. I like TLS when it works. Types. But TLS is such a traceable, fingerprintable mess. Yeah, it really is. All right, so I think the problem here is... So this is saying that error syncing pods, skipping or failed start container. Be honest with you, I'm just running this by Grok over here. Mostly because I want to see what Grok will do. If we really wanted to go crazy with this, what we'd do is we'd actually probably just go log in as root and run Claude code and make it do it for us. All right, here we go. Let's see what's going on with the scheduler here. Oh my goodness. Well, that's not good. I think it was throwing a fit over something in the scheduler pods, and I just kind of glossed over it. We're going to see if it was going to work, and it doesn't seem like it liked it. Unfortunately. All right, so what we're going to need to do is reset kubeadmin, reset Kubernetes, and then restart kubelet and containerd. All right, do we even have kubeadmin in here? Yeah, we do. All right, so let me run this. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sudo kubeadmin. We're going to force a reset on it. And then we're going to knock out some of the configuration files. This I'm just going to copy. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of etc Kubernetes, varlib etcd, varlib kubelet. Really? We're going to get rid of etcd? Hold on. Before I run this, what's in there? Varlib etcd.
Let's echo 23, see what's up.
Echo 23. Alright, there's nothing in there anyway. Alright, fine. Nuke it. And we should be, I mean, we already confirmed. We know what the IP address is because we said it. 10921, yeah. So we should just be able to do kubead. God, no, stop. Stop it. So the advertised IP right here should be 10.9.20.1. Okay, kubelet is healthy. Waiting for healthy API. Let's see if we get any errors with this one real quick. Alright. Creating cluster info config map. Alright. I don't know why it errored out the first time. I'm not trying to be a Kubernetes admin. I'm just trying to set it up to break it. I started eating Carolina Reaper almonds. Ouch. Dude, I don't mess around with the spicy stuff anymore. I used to back in the day. I really liked it, especially if it was spicy. If it wasn't making me sweat or tearing me up a little bit, I didn't really think it was all that awesome. I have changed my tune. I have. Nope. Especially after starting on carnivore and mostly doing just like meat, salt, and water for a long time, I just don't care. Spicy don't entice me anymore. Let's chone that real quick. Chone. Debian. And we're gonna do cube. So we have to chone the config file. Chowan. That's not right. It's supposed to be chone. Chamon. There we go. All right. So now, after that, now let's try cube control. Let's try cuddle. Cuddle. Get pods. Tac in cube system. Hey, now we're cooking with propane. All right. Now we can actually come through. And we can go apply flannel. Boop. Okay. Flannel's good. All right, so that sets up our master node. Now we got to go set up our worker node. Hang on, I need to go find something real quick. That's right. As we're sitting here talking about the master and the worker node, it made me think of Cartman. Yeah.
Day's never finished. Master got me working. Some the master set me free.
Oh, man. All right, hold on. It actually gave me the command I need up here somewhere. What did I do? I broke it. There we go. This is what I need. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. All the wrong buttons. Chawon. Chawon. All right, hold on. What was it should be cube control join. But I just want to make sure. All right, here's the worker node. Yeah. Should be join. There should be some kind of token in there. Okay, so this is what we need right here. Yeah. So we need this command right here. Once we take this, we find this on the worker node. Yeah, we find this on the worker node. Ja. User's not running as root. This is scheisse. There we go. Dude, don't nobody want to know what goes on in this head, man. It's ADD central, honestly. That's part of the reason why I got this timer, was to try and help me focus at work. And part of it is also to remind me to go take breaks, because I'll start working on something and then I'm like, oh, what do you mean 4 hours has passed? I guess I should actually stand up and not just be sitting the whole time. Node has joined the cluster. Certificate signing request was sent to the API server. I think the days of mommy getting me a pewter are long over. Now it's the days of, unfortunately, I monitor all of her money and she's like, do I have this money to spend? I'm like, yes, mama, you do. It's like, do I have the money to spend on this? No, mama, you don't. That's a scam. You don't need that. So and that all started after I told her, I was like, mama, you cannot keep spending $400 a month on cable. If I had known this was the case, I would have kicked you and dad off of cable a long time ago. And So now she's like, well, what am I gonna do? I was like, I'm gonna show you how to use YouTube. You got a Roku. Let's show you how to use YouTube. And now she just believes everyone. She's got to be YouTube's favorite customer. She watches every freaking ad from start to finish, and is texting me all day long. What about this? What about this? Like, no, mama, that's a scam. What about this? No, mama, that's a scam. You don't need it. Hey, Poppin, what's up? All right, let's see here. Cube control. Get nodes. Rude. What about this one? We try it over here. Cube CTL get nodes. Don't tell me I need to like. Do I need to sudo that? Actually, the server was refused. Why? It was just working. Hold on. Get pods. Get pods cube system. The Kubernetes side quest is off to a rough start. We still have Civil War debt? No. Surely, please, for the love of God, tell me that's been paid off. My older relatives love watching YouTube ads and don't understand why I'd want to skip them. They're so interesting. No, they're not. They're bogus. Especially, have you seen the chair Tai Chi one? I'm like, what? Let me look at something real quick. Okay, we haven't changed it. Like, there was just a few minutes difference in here. And now, for some reason, all of a sudden, it's like crapping out on us. All I wanted. Well, actually, you know what? After applying flannels when it did this, let's try doing a reboot again. Let's try rebooting these boxes one more time. Although I don't think we should have to, knowing everything that I know about Kubernetes. You should be able to make these changes without having to like hard reset the box. But true to form in IT, if it's broken, you should try turning it off and on again. Delegate an AI to manage your finances. They never lie and they know what's best for you. No, Bobby, no. Bad. Bad, Bobby. There was a soldier that had a child at 80 and will have Civil War debt to this day. Because a soldier did. Damn. That 80-year-old's packing. I do not honestly think I'll be throwing down like that at 80. Just saying. The probabilities are not in my favor. Okay. Let's try this again. Cube, control, get pods. All of them. So what's up with this? Why are these proxies crash loop backing off in here? Can't type. There we go. Now, actually, so what's funny is my brother has Dish Network, and apparently there's a Roku app for Dish Network, so he just signs my mom into it, and that's how she goes and watches stuff. And it's, as much as I love my mom, she predominantly watches the news, and watches it with the volume like dialed up to 11. So a lot of times it's just me sitting there like, this isn't even interesting loud noise. It's just loud noises. That's all it is. That's crazy, Poppin'. Some old people throwing down. All right, I want to see what's going on with this. Let's see. kubectl logs from this one right here. Because this is the one that's erroring out. So what is going on with this? I think that's all we need right there. Let's see. Expected logs. Oh, I gotta give it the type, I believe here. Cube flannel. There we go. So what's going on with this? Why is it all crashed out on me? Oh, now it says running. Okay. Now, why is this one, though, crapped out? What's going on with this? Crash loop back off. All right, so let me check the logs on this one. Can't determine node's IP address assuming loopback. All right, that's not good. Oh, there's a TTS and Q. All right, we get that.
RNO Gumby cheered 5 bits and says, I order a chicken and an egg on Amazon. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know which one comes first. Old people throwing down. I don't think it was ever going to be a war, though, other than the revolutions. Yeah. For the sake of the chat rules, I should get a Fed government job. Now, I didn't promise that. I just said, by joining the chat, you're a Fed. So for anybody who doesn't know, the rules of the channel are, basically, rule number 1, I think, don't hack don't hack the stream. Rule number 2 is, everybody in chat is a Fed. And rule number 3 is, don't talk about anything illegal, see rule number 2. I think those are it. I don't know, there's some variation in there. Oh, I see Bobby's going all Skyrim guard on us. Dude, Bobby, if you think about it, when did Skyrim come out? Hold on. Skyrim release date. Yeah, dude, Skyrim would be in high school right now. Skyrim is 14 years old right now. Almost 15. It was November of 2011 is when Skyrim came out. Damn, I played the crap out of that on Xbox and on PC. Rule number 4, have to have a beard. Dude, I'm right there with you, man. I was like, Skyrim's not that old. What do you mean it came out 14 years ago? Wait, hold on. It's 2016. It came out 15 years ago. Skyrim is old enough, almost old enough to drive. Damn. Damn. All right, I think those are okay now. Let me pull up. Actually, hold on. I don't even need to pull that up. What I want to do now is cube control, kubectl get pods. No, get nodes. Oh, you mother. All right, this guide I'm using is obviously not working. Damn it, somebody had a nice write-up on it on GitHub, and it 404'd. All right, we already disabled the swap. We have... All right, I'm going to do... hard reset. We're gonna nuke it. We're gonna start from scratch because obviously this is all kinds of jacked up. All right, I'm gonna wipe that out. Let me check this real quick. Let's do an ls mod. Let's see. I don't think these are on our module loads for K8s. So let's go check those real quick. Etsy modules. Yeah, we should have overlay and BR net filter. So why did that not load? I don't have mod. Oh, you piece of crap. Sudo apt install apt y mod probe. Suck. Which one do I need in here? I think I need the finit plugins. Hey, Kilo, what's up, man? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Rule number 2 is actually technically don't hack other server members. I have something I want to say, but I don't know how Twitch is going to feel about it. You might want to say it over in the Discord then. All right, so I got to figure out. My keyboard tray is acting up. There we go. Let me see. Debian 13 install mod probe. I don't know which package it is to go get it set up. Kmod? Really? Kmod's already on the newest. Okay. Well, then why don't we have freaking mod probe? Let me see. This pisses me off. Why is S-bin not in the path? You piece of monkey turd. Alright. Suck. Alright, here. Let me see. Export path is going to equal $f colon and then S-bin. Alright, so now it was source that mod probe now. Oh, look at that. Okay, cute. Why didn't you take the command? Alright. mod probe, and I forget what the name of the freaking module was. BR net filter. There we go. All right, now let me check and make sure those are loaded. Oh, so NetFilter did load. It's overlay that didn't load. Why is this being just the absolute most ginormous turd ever? Maybe I should have just done these systems as Ubuntu. I thought it'd be easier if I just did freaking Kubernetes. Let me see. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this the jank way. Go back over here. Where's the AD lab? All right. Control plane. Stop. We're just gonna delete them out of Proxmox. Remove. Yes, remove. Purge it. Destroy it. Remove it. Same thing with this one. All right, remove. This be 1, 4. And then we're gonna go modify the config for this lab real quick. All right, let's see. So we do have the Ubuntu ones in here. So let's go vim that lab in here. Okay. Actually, we've already got this in here. Right here, I see. Wait, hold on. I gotta do this one too. Now, what sucks is, this is probably going to break some of the other stuff in here. Alright. Lucas, range, deploy. Actually, hold on. There's a way to actually do this a little bit differently in here. Fine. We'll just redeploy the lab. We'll let it go with this. Also, type something. I just going back through the chat. I have not actually messed with I2P. I've been meaning to. All right, so hold on. So what I'm looking at is everything that we've done so far should have worked just fine. Yeah, I don't get why this is. Alright, let this run for just a second here. I hope it doesn't get stuck on all of the other stuff in here. We'll just do it with Ubuntu server instead of Debian. So yeah, we disabled swap. We turned on IP packet forwarding in the kernel. But for some reason, the two kernel modules we needed, overlay and BR net filter, were not loading. So I think we did this all seemingly correct. We had container D installed. We did not install Helm, but that's fine because I don't plan on using Helm. I guess maybe I could have done it. Oh, well, it's fine. Hack the planet! What's up, Cyber? Cyber Xenox. Yeah, I don't get why this is being such a hard case. Alright, well hang on. While the lab's redeploying, I'm going to grab my water. I'll be right back. Alright, hang on one sec, guys. I gotta check something. Okay. I had to go check something for the kids, but I'm back. Ooh, guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Tell a friend. And no, I was not pooping. I literally was getting my water and going in, checking on the kids because I heard a bang on the wall. One of the kids rolled over and fell off the bed. Hey, that's a nice stream you have. For me to poop on. Hack the Galaxy. Doesn't have quite the same ring as Hack the Planet. Checking on the kids is slang for poop. No, I wasn't. I was literally going to check on them. Because where I was, there is right next to their bedroom. That's where I left my water cup. And so I heard like a bang. So I go in to check on them. And one of the kids had just fallen out of the bed and banged up against the wall. He was still out cold. Kids go sleeping through anything. All right, what is going on here? Man, I hope this redeployment doesn't take a long time. I probably should just spun this up in its own individual lab. In fact, you know what? Let's go look at something real quick. Do I even have anything set up in Outsider? I don't. You know what? Let's go do this real quick. Sudo su Outsider. I think I had a range config in here. Vim. Yeah, let's do that. And then let's just do this. We're just gonna take all this out. Let me go grab the old config. From, let's see, what is this one? That's flannel. Not gonna do that. RTK, that's something I'll need to go investigate. Cube goats, here we go. Let's copy this. I don't remember what range this guy is. Let me drop this in here real quick. Set paste. Insert. There we go. Now I gotta remember what range this guy is. Hack you? No, that's not it. Oh, ID. That's what I was looking for. 10. So I think this would be the 10 range in here. Actually, I think I can maybe do it from over here. Ludus users list. Let me see, because I need to figure out what range ID this guy's going to be in here when that happens. Config string JSON. Let me try this. User number. There we go. All right. So now what I got to do is find. Where's Outsider? There's AD Lab. I think. Ah, that makes it so much easier. Okay, so it is user ID 10. All right. So let me vim this range config again. And this is going to change to 10. 10, 10, 20. Yeah, that should work right there. Okay. Ludus range config range YAML. Really? Damn it. Oh, wait, hold on. What is it? I think it's Ludus Ansible roles list. Ah, crap. He doesn't have it. All right, hang on. We can fix that. We can fix that. We copy this. What I need to do is go copy this down. And we'll just add it in there. So Ansible role add, I think it's tac D. All right, now if we list out the roles, and we'll have to go modify it because it should be in the range, it's Ludus tac, but in the actual config here, it's Ludus underscore. That bit me in the butt last night. There we go. Set the range. All right, now Ludus range deploy. There we go. All right. Well, actually, what's funny is, Gumby, this deployment should be a lot faster because setting up the Ubuntu server and then going through and provisioning Kubernetes should be really fast. The problem with AD Lab over here, no, not that one, this one, is it's having to run through all of the Windows setup and everything else in here. So I do want to know what's going on with it, but this will be an easier way to troubleshoot it over here. In fact, let me rename this to Outsider. Like that. And then we add a new folder in here. Add a folder. This one will be Outsider. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, duplicate it. And then move this one down to here. And then do the same thing here. Duplicate. I guess I could have changed the IP address in here. There you go. All right, so then I will move. Oh, which one of these is the one I need? This one. This one's got to move down here. And I forgot to change the IP address on this one because it's no longer range 9. It's now range 10. All right. So once these are done deploying, which should be pretty fast. Bash stack? What is this? Bash aux said and HTML. Oh no. Or HTMX. Why? Not sure. Dude, that's funny. Yeah, good, because we had the AD lab set up and it was supposed to be doing SCCM and ADCS vulnerable labs. But it was failing hard. So, and I was going to throw Kubernetes just into that lab. However, every time I need to go redeploy it, it has to run through all of the Windows configuration again. It takes for freaking ever. So I was like, all right, fine. We'll just go set up a dedicated lab over for Kubernetes real quick. We'll let this run. Setting up a Windows lab? That's treason. No, it's just a pain. That's why I like Ludus. All right, Types, thanks for stopping in, man. Have a great night. All right. So this should automatically go provision it for us, and... Ooh, I didn't... That's all right. I didn't set up KubeGoat on there. But we can go set up KubeGoat. That's a damn... Here, actually, hold on. I got the repo up. I'll show you real quick. So KubeGoat was one we were just going to throw up in here. Where is it? Yeah, Kate's Goat. Kubernetes Goat. And it's basically just like a damn vulnerable version of Kubernetes. So something fun to go be able to attack, play with, whatnot. I should have added just a regular Debian 13 or another Ubuntu server in there, just to have an additional testing box, but it's a really cool system. Oh yeah, this was a local AD, but it's a lot to configure because the SCCM lab has a lot of moving parts to it. You got to have a site server, you got to have a site server, a distribution server, you got to have a database, and one other thing in there. So there's a lot to set up with SCCM. It's very easy to screw up. And for some reason, that's not deploying properly. Yeah. But eventually, that was going to be the lab we were kind of going to use as a testing lab for some of these things. sensitive keys in code bases. Let's just take a look at this while it's over there deploying. So this scenario is to focus on some popular mistakes by developers and DevOps teams when packaging the artifacts and application code base. It has a real-world impact like a compromise of an organization's infrastructure. So the story is, developers tend to commit sensitive information to version control systems. This has gotten better, but it still happens. And you know what? Ironically, as a lot of AI-assisted coding is happening, it's kind of back on the uptick a little bit. Let's see. So for CI/CD and GitOps, we tend to forget that identity-sensitive information in code commits and could be something kind of cool. So to start for the scenario, you navigate to 1230. Boop. So the goal is to identify the sensitive keys available in the code base, which include the application code, container, and infrastructure. So we're going to try and access an AWS access key, an AWS secret access key, and a Kate's goat flag. Nice. So this is the first scenario. Another one is Docker and Docker exploitation. This one's one of my personal favorites. This is when they accidentally expose the Docker socket to the container. Well, then you can call it and just start spinning up Docker containers that basically take over the entire system. Just make it a public domain that I can pen test it for fun. I mean, in theory, I could actually go set up something and then I had to figure out how to do it, but give you access to it over Tailscale. So this is another one that's been fun. This is one I've actually done in the wild and gone through and abused. Focus on commons and standard ways to build systems and pipelines that leverage container sockets. Build and create runtimes from form the underlying container runtime. This has been exploited since the early days of container ecosystems and even today with some misconfigurations and use cases. So the story is, most of the CI/CD pipeline systems use the underlying host container runtime to build containers for you within that pipeline. Some using something called DIND, DIND, which is Docker in Docker. And they do this with a Unix socket. So there is a Unix socket exposed on the system. It looks just like a regular file, but it's a Unix socket. And it's the one that lets you get access to the Docker system. And if you expose that Docker socket inside of Docker, a Docker container, then you can just load up the Docker command and start spinning up containers. But they spin up from the underlying system. Right here, hold on. Let me check the lab real quick and if it's still working. Actually, no, it deployed really fast. So this is why the Kate's control has been failing. Line 5, column 3. It's Docker all the way down, that's right. Hey, Bellet, what's up? Alright, so this says, in this YAML file right here. Hold on, I gotta stop this. There we go. Can we Vim this? So it said line 5. Yeah, so there it is. And the error it's throwing at, it says float object has no attribute split. Why was it coming up as a float object? The offending line appears to be setcube minor version. Oh, what if they change something in the code and Ludus 2 is jacking me up now? Let's look at this again. So where else is Cube minor version used in here? Now, why would that be doing that? Hey, Jmar, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. So Cube key version should be 130. But why is the Cube minor version... Actually, hold on, where's Cube version actually being set? Let's see. That's Cube key version. And the variable we're looking at is this one right here, Cube underscore version. Let me go back to the log here real quick. That's it. Let me get the log here. We'll pipe that over to less. Really? Nothing showing up for Cube, huh? Go tab. What about if I search for version? Oh, let me start from the top here. So Docker version installed, compatible. I'm trying to see if it has a specific version it's trying to get, or is it just trying to get the latest version and then parse out? No, it just... Task includes an option with an undefined variable. Error float object has no attribute split. So the split is coming from this line right here. So why is Cube version actually showing up in here? I think actually if we do maybe we can do verbose in here. Let's see if that'll maybe give us some additional information. Did it just spit out a buttload of stuff in here? Let me see. Yeah, it sure did. So what I'm trying to see here is which version is actually being used with this. So the problem is actually coming up from the repository itself, right? I believe if we go to... Maybe it's in defaults. Let's go look in the defaults YAML real fast. So Cube version 132. So there's our Cube version. Why is that not populating in? Because it should populate in, and then that should be not a... Oh, you know what I wonder? I bet it thinks this is a float. Okay, hang on. I think I got an idea here. let's do something quick. Let's go into the K8s and then CD over to defaults. And then vim the main YAML. I think I know what's happening here. It's because this is like this. I believe it's reading this as a float. Because look at this. The Docker D version is actually wrapped in quotes. This one's not wrapped in quotes. I bet that's it. Okay, so now let's do Ludus Ansible roles list. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick out this one right here. Ludus Kates. I think it's remove. Oh, no tech in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add that again. So add from here. Let's go re-add that real quick. No, this has to do with which version it's trying to install in the container. Or in the virtual machine, Gumby, in this case. All right, so now let's try doing the deploy again. All right, we'll follow the logs again here. Because it looked like what happened is it was trying to do Kubernetes version 1.32, but that variable was not wrapped in quotes. And so it looked like it read 1.32 as a float because it's not typed in there. It's not strongly typed. It's kind of fuzzy. So it inferred 1.32 as a float instead of 1.32 as a string. There's no split operation on a float, but there is a split operation on a string. All right, we'll let this run for just a second. We'll see what it does. It's good to dig back into Ludus also. Because I haven't messed with Ludus in so long because we've been working on Hackbot for basically the better part of a year. Over a year, really. That I have to remember, like, there's some tricks in here that I know you can do that I have brain dumped. So, for example, if you wanted to just deploy the machines if they were not already deployed, there's a trick to that. And I forget what it is. Actually, let me go check something real quick. Hold on, let me zoom out on this. Pipe, grep, listen. Because Ludus 2, I think, does have a web interface. There is, but I don't remember if the web app is for the enterprise version. Let me look at the upgrade instructions. Okay, so the web UI should be running on port 8080 if it's running, and it is. 192.168.17. Let me see if I can get to that real quick. All right, fine. Don't need no TLS safety. Okay, yeah, so you actually do have to log in with your Ludus Enterprise account. So it's only available for the licensed version. Damn it, that's what I thought. I wanted to go double check it, see if it might make it a tiny bit easier. Yeah, see this one, it finally finished, but the site server is still failing in here. Unhandled exception while executing module. Computer cert serve is not responding. Let's see, the target computer is either turned off or the remote task schedule firewall rules are disabled. Rip. Hey, Potion, what's up? We are looking at connecting over to we're setting up a Kubernetes lab over in Ludus right now. And we just upgraded to Ludus 2, and the systems we're using were written for Ludus 1, and I think they might have had some typos in them. So we had to go fix the Ansible role. We fixed that, and now we're testing the deployment again to see if it's going to work. I basically just do stuff for fun, man. The name of the stream should be Hack Around and Find Out. That's basically what we do. Get in here, tinker with stuff. I've been in IT for a long time. I've been in IT for 16 years now. And I've been in offensive security, working as a professional penetration tester for 8 of those years, so half my career. And I mostly want to show people that, hey, a lot of this is just enjoying the technology and having fun with it. That's really what it is. So coming through and tinkering, having fun. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by tinkering doesn't mean going through and just taking something you don't understand apart. I mean, that could be part of it, but really tinkering is play combined with expertise, as the wise Daniel Miesler just pointed out to me. So a lot of times when I'm going through and tinkering with something, it's because I'm trying to figure out how it works with my expertise, right? So that's what we're doing here. And I have not set up a Kubernetes cluster in I don't know how long. I think I've only done it once. I'm fairly certain it was only once. And I think I did it probably like 5 years ago. Okay, cool. So now we have 0 failed. Excellent. So that probably was the problem. It was reading that as a float now instead of as a string. So let's go see if we can get over into the Kubernetes master here. And it's not going to like the credentials. We're going to have to update those. Yeah. This should be local user and I think password. Yeah, there we go. Outsider control plane. Okay, let me connect to this one now. And we'll do the same thing. And let's just make sure these are configured. They're all set up correctly. This will be local user and password. Update credentials. There we go. Okay. Okay, that I'm not surprised about. But over here, we should spec kubectl get pods. Oh, we don't have it in .cube here? Oh, we don't. Okay, hang on. Let's go set that up. So let's make dir.cube. I think it's .cube, yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll copy this file over to kubeconfig. Well, we'll do a little bit of a sudo action in here. There we go. And now we're gonna sudo chown it. Chimona. Turn that off. Shut up. That shouldn't have gone off because the phone should be in do not disturb mode. All right, so this is local user, local user. There we go. All right, so now if we do kubectl get pods. That should be .cube though. Hang on. Yeah, .cube config. Wonder why that's doing that. So I'm trying to learn more about cybersecurity, and I know a lot about OSINT and malware. Malware is my favorite thing to look at. Dude, I've been meaning to go through the Maldev Academy, and unfortunately, I can't really find a good way to go through the Maldev Academy here on stream. Otherwise, I would have probably already gone through it, but it's a lot of fun. This looks really interesting, and cybersecurity is something I want to move more towards. I'm only 17. Only 17. Dude, you're doing great. Especially if you're already looking at things like malware. Let's see. Malware computer vulnerability points. Dude, there's a lot of stuff to... Security is a big field to learn from. Now, you say you're only 17. I think the guy, if I remember correctly... What's his name? Snake? Hang on, I can tell you. So, if you want to learn more about malware and use your powers for good instead of evil, the Maldev Academy is really awesome. Because there are people that need... there is a need for people who can do this kind of stuff in here. So, for example, we come over to the malware developer course over here. The pricing, they've got... It's $700 for lifetime access, and I got it a long time ago. And I think I got it when it first came out, and now it's like 13 different like additional modules they've added to it. So I mean, it's a great deal, especially because there are teams that need people to go through and understand the malware. Now, if you really want to buff that up, going through and understanding the reverse engineering of the malware. So you go through, you make it, and then you start putting in defenses like anti-debugging, going through and doing like system checks to like, okay, make sure you're not in a VM, things like that. All those kind of like obfuscations, and then going through and trying to learn the reverse engineering side of it. That's a big thing right now too. As well as was a really cool article. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I don't remember where bookmarks are. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Bookmarks, here we go. I think I saved it. Do that one. I was trying to find it. One of the guys that is really cool, and we covered it here on the stream, on the news stream, a week or two ago, was talking about how he's kind of gone through and structured his AI agents for going through and doing malware reverse engineering. And that's a really cool area as well. So, I mean, if that's your thing, then there's a lot of room to run with on that. And if those are skills that you're particularly good at, Potion, then if you have any of the local meetups that you can go to, like if there's a local DEF CON group, if there's a local 2600 group, get there and start getting to know people. Because especially like if you're really young and they can see like, hey, this guy's got a long ramp ahead of him, because look how far he's already come, and he's only 17. That's going to be a big deal. So I'm always talking about, you need to kind of get to know these folks. If there's nothing really around you, then there's Discord. Getting to know folks in Discord, especially something like even the Maldev Academy Discord, and just start getting to know folks in there. So that's usually what I recommend to folks. Is every single IT job I have gotten was not from a cold applying. It was because I knew somebody who knew somebody. Or actually, not even that. I knew the people directly. So my very first IT job, I got working at a college because I was taking a class there. And so I knew all the instructors, and they needed somebody to help in the Cisco networking lab. So that's where I started. And then after that, one of the instructors worked for one of the local counties, and they needed a security analyst. So as soon as I found out that that was going on, I talked to him about it. He's like, yes, I need you to apply right now. Bam, that's how I got that job. Then another buddy that I knew had an opening for a security engineering role, setting up firewalls, antivirus, all that kind of stuff. Bam, he poached me out of there. I went to go work for them. And then another guy that I knew from the Dallas Hackers Association let me know that they had an opening for a new penetration tester. So I went and applied. Bam, that's where I got that one. So because I knew all those folks from just being in that environment. Ooh, Potions online. He's not fooling around. Yeah, I don't want to take a look at it on stream because I don't want to get you in any kind of trouble with it. But I mean, even phishing is a really cool thing to get, to get work at. I actually personally really hate phishing because it takes so long to set up the campaigns and to do them right. It's a lot of overhead. Even with some of the fun tools that we've got at work that help automate some of the process, going through and doing the actual like campaign crafting, like what's it going to look like? How is it going to be structured? How are you going to like fit in the psychology of it? It's such a drag. It's such a beatdown sometimes. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? We need to go set up cube goats. Here we go. I think all we need to do is actually go clone this sucker down. And this is going to take it a second to do this. But once we get cube goats downloaded, we should just be able to run it real quick. We should just go shmad the installer, run it, and then I think we're going to be good in there. Yeah, in fact, I think there's even a list of, let's see, list of local DEF CON groups. Dude, the local DEF CON group here in Dallas used to be freaking wild back in the day. Like, it was really small. We literally met in a tiny, tiny room. Like, I think my office in my house is probably almost about the same size, maybe a little smaller than the room we used to meet in. And we literally, like, we hung up a freaking bed sheet, and one of the guys had a projector, and he brought it every time. And guys would just be sitting up there talking about, like, their O-days that they were researching, and, like, just dropping them there in the meetup. It was wild back then. It's not really like that anymore. Such is the way of things. I'm talking like this was probably around 2011. And that was actually when things had chilled out a bit. Some of the guys who had been around, because that group has been around for over 20 years at this point. And they were telling about some of the stuff that happened before I even came on. And I'm like, damn. Dude, you broke the SEO? That's freaking hilarious. Let's see. Here, let me drop this in the chat. I believe this one is, I think, the most currently, like, kind of up-to-date one. We're finding a bunch of the, like, local DEF CON groups in here. Let's see. I don't know why these logos aren't loading in here, but it's got a breakdown of them by like where the location is. So you can go through and start like checking out all these different areas. So like there's one in Austin, right? DC 512. Now a lot of them, they're not actually using the area codes anymore. They've kind of gone away from that. They're a little bit more, I think, regional. I don't know if there's any of the new ones in here. Oh, I didn't know there was one in... I should have known there was one in New Orleans because I lived in Louisiana for a couple years. But yeah, go check out that site and see if you can get connected with some of those folks. Let me go check it out real quick. Was this a Roblox exploit? Go see. That's funny because that site is still up. Oh, damn, that's funny. Oh, I need to go do this real quick. Hang on. Let's see. KubeGoats access. All right. Hang on. Let me get this set up. So you were asking about what we're doing in here earlier, Potion. And what we're doing is we're setting up a containerization orchestration, a container orchestration system called Kubernetes. And it's really fun. And it's actually a big part of the current penetration test I'm on. So I wanted to go through and get a little bit of rebuff on it. We're kind of at a pause point for our long-standing project called Hackbot, which is an AI penetration tester, hackers, CTF system. Just having fun with it. And instead, I wanted to like kind of dive into this a bit because I'm currently re-architecting Hackbot from the ground up. Oh, no. If you got it, don't mess with it. Just leave it be. Especially if you're wanting to like start working in that field. Let's see. Did we get this? Okay, so let me CD over to Kubernetes. Go look at. There's our access. So let me shemad that. And then we should just be able to run that. Error executing JSON path. Let's see. Erase out of bound, index 0, linked 0, printing more information. Okay, so creating the port forward for all the Kubernetes Go resources. We're going to use ports 1230 to 1236. All right, let's just see if this will work here. Oh, the ads is running. Let me see if I can fix something real quick while this is running. Yeah, I needed to just fix that. There we go. That fixed it. Boop. Okay. I wonder how many times it's going to try this. Let's see here. I don't want to just kill it, but... Okay, let's do this. Let me get a different set. I should have just run that in Tmux, so I could have just done it really easily. There we go. Let's see what it's going to do here. it's just gonna like run in a never-ending loop. It runs in a while true. Let's see. So it exports the pod name. It's gonna run that in cube control. Get pods. So which one did it actually say was tossed in the air? Let me see. Let me check. Let's check cube or cuddle cube control here. Get pods stack A. Ah, damn it! I forgot about that. That's why it's not working. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna shimod that. I know this is horrible practice, but you know what? Tired. There we go. I bet that's probably what's happening over here is it had trouble with it. I stand corrected. Nope. It just didn't like it. What is this error it's got here? Template was items metadata name. And that's it. Let's just throw this over into Tmux real quick. Let me close the worker here because we don't need the worker just yet. There we go. All right, so let me do. All right, so the error we're getting is that. So then let me do vim access sh. Let's go back into here because the error we're seeing. Item 0 metadata name. So what is it trying to actually do for this? So here's what it's trying to run. It's trying to get the pod name this way. So where's pod name actually get set? Let me go try this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this part real fast here. I think that's what we need. Let's go try running this directly. Index 0, length 0, printing more. Okay, so what if I just come back to... Let's take out the JSON path here. No resources found in the default namespace. Do we need to make a default namespace? So the namespaces is how it separates all these in here. List namespaces. Gotta remember what that command is. Oh, it's just get namespaces. Okay. So cuddle get namespaces. What do we have? We have default. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Yeah. So all these different namespaces, we only have a few in here because this is basically a fresh blank setup in here. And so the command it's trying to run is basically this one right here. So look at, get all the pods in the default that belong to the default namespace. And where the app is build code. Hold on, let me check something real quick. Tach L will be the selector. Selector query to filter on. Oh, it's just where key equals value. Okay. So if that's the case... So why is it doing that? Because if we look at what it's doing in here... So it should be checking the version, which is basically just making sure that it's going to work. Now, this one doesn't actually even do this. It doesn't even say creating port. Oh, yeah, it does say we're going to create all the port forwards. So exposing sensitive keys in the code base scenario. Maybe there's something I'm missing, because we're using the instructions from this, but actually, let's go look at the instructions from KubeGoats in here. Okay, I guess we need to go over to the docs. Docs for installation. Oh, we already have kube control. We already set up. And show you have the Helm package manager installed. Oh, I don't think we actually have Helm. Maybe that's the problem. Do I know anything about Java? If not, is there any way I have... Or if so, either way, I have a cool thing I could teach real quick from my knowledge that's interesting. What's the purpose of exposing the keys? Actually, so to answer your first question, I don't know much about Java. I know enough to kind of follow the code, but it's annoying, and it's one of my most despised languages. I'd say Java's probably like the lowest one, and then a close second of like most hated languages would be Rust. And not because of anything particularly with Rust. It has solely to do with the syntax. The syntax is absolutely abysmal. They did a lot of thinking about how Rust should work, and not a lot of thinking of how to interact with Rust. Oh, and to answer your second question. So the purpose of exposing the keys is because Kubernetes Goat is a damn vulnerable version of Kubernetes. And I'm just basically going to work through it for fun. I think I went through this before. I don't necessarily remember. But it was something basically just start flexing and getting more familiar with Kubernetes again. Because I haven't messed with it a ton. And I'm on the second week of a penetration test that's very heavy in Kubernetes. So this was just going to be a little bit of fun, something to do on the stream, and get re-familiar with it. Which I have, to a certain degree. I just wish this thing would have been working. Oh, so there's a setup command in there. Aha, I see. I see. Shmadat. Alright, so we need to... That's where I was screwing up in here, I think. Yeah, okay. So what we need to do is we need to run the setup. That's why it's all acting all funky. Run the access Kubernetes bash to access the Kubernetes Goat environment. Okay. There we go. Now we're starting to get it. Code deployment is not running. Current state pending. Okay. It's working on setting it up right now. Cool. So for Java, when you're compiling a jar, it's actually easy to elevate, which is how so many Minecraft players get ratted because the jar itself gets signed by the official Oracle. Oh, rip. And they think absolutely of giving it elevated access by default. Oh. That's funny. Yeah, you have to think a lot of the people that are running those jars are not super technically savvy, too. So a lot of times, like, hey, I need to run with elevated permissions. Okay. Let's see. kubectl, get pods, get all the pods. There we go. Now we've got a whole bunch. Build code. This is the one right here. And it's running. Sweet. Hey, there we go. So now it's up and running. Now, one of the things we probably need to do is change to expose this externally, because I need to be able to access that thing. I could set up a port forward to it. I just don't know if I want to. Let me check something real quick. Where do they have the documentation for this? Here we go. Docs. So setup is you run the setup. Yeah, by default, because this is such a damn vulnerable one, this actually predates Ludus. I bet it's actually in the various charts that are in here. Guide infrastructure platform scenarios. Which was the one I'm looking for in here? Docker bench, hidden in layers, hunger check, insecure, RBAC. For registry, which one do I need in here? Build code, that's the one. No, that one doesn't show it in here either. Let me see, because it's saying you should be able to reach it. Oh, no, wait. I did that in the other one. No, I did do it in the first one. Should be available on 123. Let me get the info on that. I believe it's... Takes zero effort to elevate the Java files. Sometimes it just does it automatically, which is why it's actually not flagged in sites like VirusTotal and whatnot. So the one thing about VirusTotal you always have to be aware of, though, Potion, that you might not have come across, is that if you start uploading samples to VirusTotal, VirusTotal actually caches those, and then they become available to anybody with a paid account, where they can go download any sample that has been submitted to VirusTotal. So it's not unheard of. In fact, it happens kind of regularly, where somebody comes up with some new shiny piece of malware. They go upload it to VirusTotal, and then some security researcher is like, oh, wow, there's something interesting about this. Downloads it and reverse engineers it and BTFOs their hard work, like right off the bat. So that's one of those gotchas they don't talk about for VirusTotal. Threat.rip? I haven't seen that. Go pull that up. Uses AI into any run. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't seen threat.rip. I'll have to go tinker around with that. I do like any run. I have messed around with any run in the past. Yeah, if you want to share it, go ahead. Let's see. I'm trying to think what's the best way to approach this system in here. And we might just go ahead and just do a local port forward. Because we know what ports we're going to need. We need ports 1230 to 1236. These should actually not be running on this one. They should be running on the worker node. Let me look at this real quick here. You get build code. Oh, that's if I'm looking at the namespace. I think it's just that one. I think I could do tech o JSON. There we go. This should tell us, I believe, which worker node it's on. Let's see. Hey, Rob, what's up, man? People upload their code to Prettier Code Beautifier that have hard-coded logins. Oh, dude, there was so many. There was a blog post from Watchtower where people were uploading, I think, JSON web tokens into something to, I forget what the platform was, but it basically was like one of those code shares. And yeah, you would think. And if they happened to hit some kind of a share button, then all of a sudden it became like world available. And they went through and just farmed all the potential permutations of the links and got it out of there. It was so disgusting. I was like, why would you share this stuff? Here, let's maybe pull up this link real quick here. Because I have not seen threat.rip. This looks really cool. Oh, that's very cool. Malware. XMRig. Somebody's doing some Monero mining. Monero is so hard to mine. And this is the one that people always want to go deploy. Because they're like, oh yeah, it's good. But you might deploy it and do a lot of hard work and just get pennies out of it. Potential malware communications. So it connected to this server on 443. Did something with Polygon RPC, making more post requests. What else kind of data do we have? Metadata. Let's look at the metadata real quick. Yeah, they should be run locally. That's for sure. Here, let's go look at the feed real quick. Oh, interesting. This one's a 0 out of 100. Copy unicorn. That's funny. I like how a lot of these are like just 100, 100, 100, 20, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. This one's like, hey, it's an Office installer. Family Meme Viking. These names crack me up. Hold on, let me go back real quick because I want to see. So what kind of metadata is it collecting? Compression, dates, file extensions, zipped file names. So this one's a PowerShell one. Identifiers. Okay. No Packer identified. cool. Let's see. So FireEye. So that's good. That's pretty cool. So it goes through and correlates which ones are flagging it. So FireEye, GData Rising, and Rising Online all marked it. I don't know if this means it didn't check these or if it just didn't have any detections against it. Oh, wait, I clicked it. That's not going to... Oh, so when you clicked it, so it brings up ps12.zip, which gave it a ps1, and then it's going to drop this decrypt.py. Port doesn't exist. No. I want to see it. Let's see. So there's the child version there where it's actually got it. That's pretty cool. This is a neat platform. I don't want to go necessarily download this onto this computer. Weed Hack, that one's Java. Okay, hang on. Let's go look at it real quick. Weed Hack. Let's see. Detections. Reversing Lab, Any Run. Hatching Treehouse. This is actually pretty cool because I have not heard of any of these except for Any Run. Reversing Labs and Hatching Triage, I'm not familiar with. So this was a zip file. So potential malware communications, doing some TCPs, and then some webs through. Oh, they were using a Cloudflare redirector. Okay. Actually, I take it back. They were using Cloudflare DNS in here. So probably doing DNS over HTTP. And then calls back to a Russian website. I'm shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked. Full send it. Not on this computer. Jar, generic file, malicious. Network reference, generic malware. Stealer, rat, ether hider, anti-VM, anti-evasion, auto-reg. Nice. This is pretty cool. I like this system. Go to detections. Okay. Click the AnyRun. All right, let's go take a look at it. Oh, snap. It brings up the AnyRun dashboard for it. Sick. I'm not expecting to see very much like happen right here when it does that. Child process created embedded COM process. Ooh. Hang on. Let me see what it actually... Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. So we have executing a jar file, doing a little bit of PowerShell, some raw PowerShell, like they're not even using the obfuscated PowerShell. Oh, interesting. So they're using it looks like they might be using. It actually loads up Chrome. Hang on, let me see what happens here. So executable gets dropped. Child process created using command 32 in conhost and PowerShell. Yes, which is what we just saw in here. I want to see what the little pop-ups it gets up here. And mostly, I'm also curious to see if they were potentially, since it's a rat and it's trying to steal data, were they using where fault injection? Oh, sorry, my big ass head's in the way. So you see how they've got this where fault subprocess to Chrome? That's a kind of, not really new, but it's kind of come back into vogue recently of using where fault to bypass some EDRs in order to get, I believe it was a process dump from these. I haven't had to do it. I'm trying to draw it out of memory here. Let me see what else I got in here. So that dropped a temp file. Let me see what else it does in here. Another child process created for some con host PowerShell. So it's doing some stuff in the background here. So it runs something called slui.exe. Child process created where fault. Okay, yeah, so I think they're using, what was this one called? Weed hack? Is this the legit one just sitting up on GitHub? Or is this one that maybe somebody reverse engineered out of here? Yeah, that's it. I think this is the decompiled one somebody brought back. Native library uses cha-cha-20. Nice. Dump the keystream from memory using x64 debug. Keystream is used to obfuscate using Gahydra. Load that keystream into memory, point to the pointer, and mark it as a constant. Ghydra's decompiler does the constants folding and deobfuscating the string for free. Nice. That's funny. Hang on, let me search in here. Okay, so there's no direct references to wherefault in here. I was curious if there would be. Because it was flagging wherefault coming in. I think, what was that technique I'm trying to remember? Wherefault process memory. I think it was memory dumping. I don't think it was this one I was looking at. I believe, though, this is something from Fortinet. See if it comes up in here. Yeah, because there was an old method of using wherefault because it was such a trusted binary to get process dumps, and usually people were doing that to get a process dump of LSAS. Then you'd exfil that, you'd run Mimikatz against it from a local machine where you don't have to worry about antivirus, and then you could just start pulling all the credential material out of that process dump. Oh, Fortinet, you can't even keep your own networks online. Yeah, so this is not really a new process. This has been around for about 4 years now. Let me see if this one will come up. Here we go. Not the best thing in here. Detect process LSAS memory dumps using Mimikatz, NanoDump, ProcDump, and Task Manager based on call trace. Yeah, I think that was the Windows error reporting fault. Wasn't there? Yeah, there were different ways to do that and use it for. Yeah, this was done at DEF CON 30, which I think when they presented this, when was DEF CON 30? I want to say that was a couple years ago. Yeah, DEF CON 30 was in 2022. So yeah, that was like kind of 3-ish years ago, 3.5 years ago at this point. And I think that was the last one I went to. Yeah, I think it was. Because I think I taught a class at Black Hat in 2022 and attended DEF CON. 2023, the class didn't get renewed for Black Hat training. And then 2024, I started at my current company. So I switched companies. So yeah, that was the last one I went to. Man, it's been a minute. I don't think I'll be going out this year. I don't know, maybe we'll see. Yeah, shit-tankering. LSAS shit-tankering. I remember this. I don't think I went to this particular talk, but I remembered it happening. I didn't think it was at that particular DEF CON, though. Another one here. Hang on, let me bring up that one you just showed with Sharon. So this one was not Java-based, called Curion or Curinium. Older one, but they remained pretty undetected. Oh, okay. Interesting. And he runs like hella malicious. Hella malicious. Oh, interesting. So it runs this command, which basically pulls up command exe. I'm trying to see what the so they just run a batch file with it, and then we get the con host. We get probably from the batch file we get PowerShell with a hella obfuscated PowerShell window. You can't see. Hold on. Let me rearrange this real quick. Here, hold on. So what I'm looking at is down here. It actually shows all the command line variables, and we've got an obfuscated JavaScript base 60, or not JavaScript, PowerShell base 64. I think CyberChef can decode this. Yeah, but it's different. It's PowerShell base 64. I gotta remember exactly. What is that? Strict mode? No, damn it. Let's see if there's a way to do this in CyberChef. CyberChef decode PowerShell base 64. Yeah, so here's an example of like what that one was running. And you send this encoded command, which is a PowerShell version, but it's using, I forget what the different encoding method is. And here it's showing the same thing, right? You try to decode base 64, and we look at the text, it doesn't work. But then we need to decode, okay, here we go. Decode the text from UTF-16 Little Indian. That's it. Okay. I think it's decode text. There we go. And we change this to here. There we go. So this was doing, we have $W, basically setting it as a string. Same thing with $R. And then F is going to do a file system. And then A is going to equal F, which is already right file system. So all they're doing is like basic string encoding with this. Here. Tell you what, let me bring this over real quick. What we'll do is we'll just deobfuscate it real quick. Okay, so first thing let's do is find all the semicolons in here. And can we replace those with new lines? Replace all? Nope, it doesn't like that when we do it that way. Fine, we'll just do it by hand. Okay, so if we come over here, bust all these up. So what they've done is they use semicolons over here to kind of split this into individual lines. So we'll just do it by hand real quick. So we run this, and there we go. So actually there's the end of it right there. All right, so let's start working backwards on this. So in here, they said, oh, okay, so A is going to be $F. Well, $F is system here. And then they're going to be calling this guy right here. So $R. So that's read all text. And then they're going to go from the environment variable here, whatever this guy is. So where are they setting that at? Notepad might execute that code. That was a different scenario. That was a different scenario, though. Hey, Icarus. I hate looking at code like this. Reminds me of Perl. Yeah, whenever you see the Windows style hidden in the R's, you know it's going to do some funny business. Yeah, very funny business. Let's see. So I wonder if... Well, actually, hold on. Let's go back over to the in-run. Because what they're doing is they're reading this from an environment variable. So they might have actually thrown data up into the environment variable. Let's go look at any run. Can we see this batch file in here? Maybe we can see it over here. Let's see. Files. No, I don't want to download it. No. Let's see. No, not multi-scanner. Where is it? Relations. Oh, on any run hit more info? Okay. So there's the command line, but what I want to get is the file that was on the desktop, the command bat. Because I think what it's doing is it is setting up a... Or can we check the environment variables for this? I've never actually I haven't messed with any run in a long time. I only used to mess with it briefly. Process dump, none. That's just modules loaded, synchronization. It's just online hacking labs. Well, actually, we were making one, and then Potion came in, and he's like, hey, check out this cool stuff over on another tool that I have not seen. This is called threat.rip. And now I've just kind of gone off on a tangent of, I'm just curious to see what their little malware was doing. Let's see. Get sample. Here's the command. Actually, hold on. Here's the .cmd file. Oh, here we go. There we go. Let me see. Main hex. No. Let me see if I can get a copy of it here. So you can't... I was surprised if any run wasn't going to have a copy of the file in here. Look at all that. Oh my God. Becky, look at that base. 64. Okay, so it's doing a lot of stuff in here. Let me see if I can find something in here real quick, because we're looking for a particular string, right? It's reading this from the environment variables. Can we find that? Okay, there we go. So it sets that environment variable in there, boom. So then it's gonna start coming through and reading directions. All right, I'm not gonna worry about what that actually is, but let's go through and take a look at this. So it's looking for a particular index value in there. So this _s _, and then, so we set S, we set E. So if we go find $S right here, they're going to take this, they're going to go grab an additional point. So all they're doing right here is they're doing some very, oh wait, I missed one right here, system convert. So what they're doing is they're just basically crafting a substring from A, right? And A was the byte contents of this. So they set the index of where this is. They set the index of where this E is, right? Aptly named S and E. And then when they do this, they use those as byte offsets. They construct a substring. They do a little bit of string replacing in it. And then this becomes essentially the execution key that they're going to be using. Oh, wait, hold on. There was more to this. I completely messed this up. Hang on. There we go. So now, after they do this, we got from base 64, we have this one right here. So C, this is now going to become system convert. And then we have FB, which is from base 64. And they're going to do D, which is going to be whatever this substring was. So this is substring data right here. So they take this, they convert it from base 64. But then down here, $F, this is, where's $F? There we go. That was system IO file right here. And then where is $W? Right here. That was write all bytes again. Okay, so then we've got write all bytes as the function. And then what they're going to do is take all the data from this environment variable, and they're going to write all those bytes over to it. That's funny. I forgot how disgusting batch files are. Oh yeah, no. No, 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 no. Batch files are fugly as all get out. Yeah, so this right here was the combination of the stager, and then you see how it's got all this various information in here. Eventually, everything that it's going to write over to it. In fact, we could try, let me see. So it's only mentioned in here once, and I forget exactly like what this does in here in batch. Hang on. Okay, so that's what I thought it does. So that percent tilde F0 is the way to represent its own full path right here. So what does it do? It takes this entire thing and dumps it into this environment variable right here. And then we have another environment variable here. Where's this one? Boop. Yeah, so then this one now is going to get this written over to it when that happens. That's hilarious. Yeah, good call, Bobby. That was the it's the easiest way for the bash script to like reference its own full path into it. They're using a combination of Python and PowerShell. They might be. Malware reverse engineering is not one of my specialties. Honestly, my specialty was actually operating inside of networks, like bouncing from system to system, finding attack paths, stealing credentials, moving between them. So this is kind of fun for me because it's a neat little foray into a different area of security that I don't specialize in regularly. Like, for example, I think John Hammond does a little bit of this. Low-level learning, I believe he does a lot more of this kind of work. And so they're all about this life. Oh yeah, they're trying to do string obfuscation to usually kind of get around like AMSI detection sometimes. I'm not familiar with Eric Parker. I was trying to remember, see if I remembered him. Yeah. But a lot of times what they're doing, though, with this, yeah, it might get them past AMSI, but there's going to be different heuristic detections that are probably going to grab them. Like, hey, by the way, why are you writing huge amounts of base 64 over to an environment variable? Note to self, code all future malware in batch because no one wants to deal with it because it's gross. Ew. Ew, Bobby. Ew. Oh, that's funny. Well, all right, guys. Unfortunately, it is about time to wrap up the stream. Now, the good news is we had a little bit of fun messing with some malware. Thanks for bringing that to the table, Potion. And thanks for the information about Threat Rip, because I want to go tinker around with that some more. Go play around with it. But on the other good news side, the standalone Kubernetes lab is up and running. I just need to make sure. Hang on, let me go check one thing real quick. I gotta remember how to do this in kube control. Check which node is running a pod. I know there's a way to get this. Kube control. Oh, get pods taco wide. Okay, so let's do that. Kube control get pods. Oh, this is probably gonna suck. No, that's okay. Here we go. Yeah, so all of these, notice how these are all running on outsider node 1. So we have two machines in this environment. We have the master and we have the node. So the worker node. So the master's job, if we had multiple nodes in here, we've only got the one, would be to kind of like load balance and schedule and move the rest of them around. Well, since we've only got the one worker node, that's it. The master nodes never run any of the compute pods, anything that's actually not directly related to administering the Kubernetes environment. So WeedHack, SilentNet, and etc. were made by AI and anti-gravity. Oh, that's funny. Let's go see. Hang on, let me go check something real quick. Let's see if InfoSec Streams is still back online. No, I need to message GoPro because I don't know if he's just not maintaining anymore. Maybe the server needs a reboot or something. I haven't checked it in the middle of the day. Maybe I'll try to do that tomorrow because I know some folks are on and it should be up and good. Oh, anti-gravity is the IDE that Google set up, basically. The AI IDE from Google. That's the one. They basically just dumb down the prompt and anti-gravity will code you full-blown malware. God, that's funny. Actually, I need to go. I'm so busy. I've got so many irons in the fire. I managed to acquire an old crypto mining server. And just by happenstance, over the years, I have 6 NVIDIA 1080 Ti cards here in my house. I've got 4 of them right behind me, and then 2 of them came with the rig that I bought from this guy. So I've got 2 over there also. I'm meaning to go throw them all together and just test it and run and see like what we could do for local language models on there, like some of the bigger models. Those cards have 11 gigs of VRAM each, meaning we would have, across 6 of them, we'd have 66 gigs of VRAM to kind of tinker with, right? And so, but the way the crypto mining rigs work is they use something called a PCI riser. So you insert a little link into the PCI card, and then it comes up to a little riser card. But when you do that, you're restricting it down to only having like a single PCI lane. So that means your input and output from the card's memory is really restricted. Yeah. Now, the great thing is that's going to only, I think, be restricting it as you're loading the models, because that's where you have to load, like, if you load a chunky model, let's say in theory it used the entire stack of VRAM, you're going to be jamming 11 gigs per one of those up there. And they're only going to be moving at about 700 megabits per second, if I remember right. What's the speed of PCI 1X? PCIe, let's see, what are you doing? 1x speed. Okay, so in theory, depending on which spec of PCIe we're looking at, and I don't think this is PCI 3, we're probably realistically looking at 500 megabytes a second. So it will take it a good, decent amount of time. That's 2 per gig. Let's say it's not going to be at perfect throughput. So it'll probably take about 30 seconds to load a model that's going to run the entire thing. But the amount of data that we're going to be pushing between the cards is not going to be that much. So I'm curious to see kind of what will happen with it. Yeah. I'm willing to bet these are probably PCI 2. This board is new enough, it should not be running PCI 1. Even if it is, that is going to make it hella slow to load the models. But still, at 250 megabits per second, the transformer, let me think about this. I'm trying to think of like a reasonable estimate of how big the vector is going to be moving between there. Because you're going to be able to load, basically, the first card will load, let's say, for example, layers 1 through 5, and then 6 through 11 will go through like the next one, yada, yada, yada. But that's not a ton of data to move between the cards. For something like Llama CPP, it should be able to move that no problem. Yeah, when you start distributing it sucks. So it was going to kind of be a proof of concept. I've got the hardware. I was like, might as well throw it together and see what it does. All right, I got to find somebody to raid over on the Big Purple Twitch side. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to shout them out. Let me see who else is in science and tech right now. Let's see. Science is on. We could always do that. flower shit. What is this guy doing? Looks like he's watching videos. Not sure about that. Get an H100 for your home lab, dude. An H100 is going to cost as much as it is to like replace my roof, which I'm currently in the process of doing, and learning another very, very freaking expensive lesson about how much I don't hate insurance enough. Let me just say that. I could go get one of the AMD boards and get with one with a lot of breakouts to it. However, I already have this one, and it was pretty cheap. So, I just realized anti-gravity can auto-execute as administrator plus levels. No. No, stop telling me these things. That make me sad as a security professional person. What is this person doing? Let's see. Oh, offline. Okay. Not a whole lot over in Braythorn's on, but he's kind of doing Pokemon stuff right now. Alright, we'll keep science in the back pocket. Let's go see maybe who's over in software and game dev. Danny's on. She's trying to fix her 3D printer. Six Toes like, wait, never mind. Yeah, my mom's 84. Ain't nobody raiding that. Let's see. I don't know if any of my other hacker peeps on. Hang on, let me try something else real quick. Not really. Nobody's on doing any kind of hacker shenanigans tonight. I mean, Danny's on. She's kind of working on her 3D printer. Could go right over to her. Looked up hacking as a general search. Ah, nice. No tags. All right. Yeah, I don't know who I'd be on. Yeah, I guess we'll go right over to science. I don't know. It's a toss-up. We could go do science, where they're always doing fun science stuff, or we can go right over to Danny. She's working on her 3D printer. What do y'all think? Random channels in cybersecurity is how I ended up here. Welcome in, man. So I do the stream every Saturday and Sunday, and then we do Hacker News for the week on Wednesdays. Just basically keeping situational awareness of what's going on right there. And except for this particular Saturday. Oh, Fawfresh and Icarus, thank y'all for coming online. This particular Saturday, we will have Wednesday night's news stream, but this coming Saturday, I'm going to be at a race because my family does cross-country ATV racing. So we'll be out on Saturday, but we will have Wednesday night news coming up. All right, let's go. Let me go find science. Where are they at? I know they're on. Wait. Why is it not showing up in my followers? Hang on. Am I not following science? No, surely I am. They should have showed up in that menu. Oh, no. All right, let's kick off the raid there. Do me a favor, guys. When you get over to the science stream, drop a bunch of Hack the Planets and Happy Hackers in there. And let's go and wrap this up for the week. I will catch all of y'all on... Yeah, we do cross-country ATV racing. So I was just showing a video at the beginning of the stream of my son doing it. Remind me on Wednesday. I'll bring it back up and I'll show it again. But we have a lot of fun with that. And that's it for tonight, guys. Let's go and wrap it up. When you get to science, drop some hack the planets and a bunch of happy hackers in there. And I will catch up with y'all on Wednesday. Remember, tomorrow is Monday, or depending on your time zone, it could already be Monday, which means you're going to be in crushing it mode because we do not go weekly into the week. We go crushing it at the start of the week. And that's all I got for you guys. Y'all stay wonderful. Thanks for coming to hang out and show me all this stuff. Blaise on Hump Day is quite humpty. I am. Due to Hump Day. That's right. All right. I got to get out of here. I got to get to work early in the morning. All y'all have a wonderful night. And I want you to remember one thing. I love you. Peace.